Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
It's time for Tip-Off Tuesday.
They're really good people, and the chemistry's great, very coachable, they work hard.
Shelstad left wing three. Yes, sir! What a catch and a finish, plus the foul.
The guys are playing hard, and guys found a way, so it's a big part of any season, just fighting away.
Pass underneath to Cousinard, he's fouled and one. Gray wants another three, are you kidding?
So let's go have some fun, let's play loose and see what happens.
This is Tip-Off Tuesday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Today's broadcast is also brought to you by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks! Drink Pepsi. Let's talk Oregon Duck basketball. From the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
We've got 2 road trips upcoming for both men's and women's basketball, breaking down the week that was. For women's basketball, a couple losses to some top 10 teams. But you had to like some of the effort against UCLA in particular. I think the Ducks are still dealing with that short rotation, certainly for both men's and women's basketball. But now a chance against an unranked team, some unranked teams on the schedule for women's basketball for the first time in a while. Kelly Graves, we'll hear from him, the Oregon women's basketball head coach, coming up. And then also Kennedi Williams, who's gotten back healthier for this Oregon women's team. She sat down, I should say, with Chris Clayton, coming up in just a little while on Tip-Off Tuesday. It's always presented by our friends at Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. And then men's basketball assistant coach Mike Mennenga. We're going to sit down with him coming up. And I got to tell you, it is always a good feeling to win at Gill Coliseum. So Scott's clapping as I say this. Terry Johns said this to me one time. Terry Johns, longtime voice of the Oregon women's team, he said, you know, Joey, it's great to beat your rival. But there's just something about walking out of Gill Coliseum with a win that just feels really good as a Duck. And you know what? Terry was right. He was absolutely right. There have been 3 straight one-possession games up there with the Ducks and the Beavs, and I remember Rivaldo Soares hitting the game winner last year. I remember, of course, this year, quite the hustle play that leads to a Dante dunk, and I want to kind of start with that. Oregon, on the outside looking in, according to a lot of the bracket prognosticators right now, but getting a road win, so valuable against your rival. And the Ducks got it done with really a hustle play. Didn't go the way they wanted down the stretch for Oregon men's basketball, but found a way to win when they needed to. So some good takeaways, I think, from the weekend for both teams. We were going to sit down with the freshman phenom, Jackson Shelstad. He had something come up this morning. Weren't able to get him in here to the Country Financial Studio before we got Tip-Off Tuesday rolling. But I hope to have him later on in the season. Talked to him post-game a couple times. And I've said this to him before. It is amazing. Whenever he has played the Los Angeles teams, he just goes for 20. So if every opponent for Jackson Shelstad was just one of the Los Angeles teams, he'd just always go for 20. In any case, I hope we'll be able to get him on later this year. But the good news is we did go a little longer with assistant coach Mike Mennenga. The schedule for the week for Oregon basketball. 8 o'clock on Thursday, the Duck men's team is on the road at Stanford. That's right. Stanford has been a difficult place to play for Oregon basketball. I look forward, though, to, I think, a Duck team that has kind of settled into a rhythm now with the rotation that they have. We know that the rotation's been in flux, but Stanford going to be a tough test because they're athletic. They can hit the three better than the vast majority of teams in the country. Stanford is the opponent at 8 o'clock on Thursday. And then 4 o'clock on Saturday, the Ducks in Berkeley against Cal, the Bay Area road trip for Oregon men's basketball upcoming. Meanwhile, for Oregon women's basketball, 7 o'clock on Friday, 6:30 pregame with Chris Clayton in Seattle against the Huskies before finishing the road trip in Pullman against Washington State on Sunday at noon. Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Toyota. When we come back, Mike Mennenga, Oregon men's basketball assistant coach, sitting down with him right after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Introducing Lem and Lime for Starry Lemon Lime Soda.
Hey.
Hello.
What is Starry Lemon Lime Soda?
It's a crisp, clear burst of lemon lime flavor, and it's caffeine-free.
One of you must be a little more important than the other.
We're both important.
So it could just as easily be Starry Lime Lemon Soda.
That doesn't sound right.
I like it.
So you saying hip-hop could be hop-hip?
Works for me.
Starry Lemon Lime Soda. Starry hits different.
Pepsi is proudly distributed by locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks, drink Pepsi.
Fubo is the official streaming platform of Oregon Athletics. With Fubo, you can watch every Pac-12 game, plus more college and pro sports, shows, movies, and news on over 350 live TV channels. Stream it live on your TV, phone, and other devices. No cable required. The best part? You can try Fubo free. There's no contract or commitment. To start watching, just go to FuboTV.com. That's FUBOTV.com.
This is Tip Off Tuesday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We're back on Tip Off Tuesday,
Hey.
presented by Toyota. Coach Mennenga's here,
go,
folks.
let's
Mike
go,
Mennenga.
let's go.
Hey, thanks for being here, all right? I appreciate you coming over. Let's begin. The shirt choice today, for those of you that are watching the show, look at this thing. That is a great shirt choice, Coach.
Man, you know what? Like I said, I got to give Blake McMahon, our office manager, all the props on that. I wore it a couple weeks ago, and then Joey, you called, and then we were going to come into the studio, and I was just like, you know what, Blake, we'll rock this one. And check this out. I love this shirt too. So
look at that.
Yep.
So
they got really creative here. So we got the family thing going here, and then what else we got over here? Yeah, we are family.
Well
like
done.
Sister Sledge.
Well done. You know, the shooting shirts this year, I mean, Keep on Duckin'. The Keep on Duckin' shooting shirt is next level great.
It really is.
You know?
It really is.
Okay, so truthfully, what's the power rankings of the shooting shirts that you've had in now, 10 years as a coach here at Oregon?
Oh, man, there's some I've had some favorite ones. I've collected. One of my favorite ones was the Final Four shirt that had like the King Duck on it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It was a duck with his wand, and he had the crown on it. That was a favorite one of mine. You know, another one was the duck in a comic character.
Yeah.
And it showed him like Batman. He was swinging and it said "pow."
Yeah.
You know, and then the third one, this might be a great segue. There was one where it was, remember back in the day, Mattel put out an old school toy called the Knockout Robot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we had a knockout robot that was a duck.
The Rock'em Sock'em Robot.
The Rock'em Sock'em Robot. And the beaver was the other robot.
Yeah, that was great.
We got a good little uppercut right there. And obviously we sneaked one in there in round 15 in this last one.
Well, I want everybody to know I did not tell Coach I was going to ask him that question. And a championship-level pivot on the broadcast. Hey, so 3 straight games that against the Beavs have been decided by one possession up there.
Incredible.
So just how you drew it up.
Exactly. You know, coaches just, you know, all X's and O's. Go get it done, fellas.
I mean,
you know,
skid
it off the front of the rim, bad scramble on the basket, somehow dig it out. You know what I mean? Just like Naismith planned.
All right, so I want to play for a couple reasons. I want to play the final sequence because I think it's fun to do a little film study. Also, shout out to Carter and the content guys for getting it, and also Mike, I should tell you. Look, the broadcaster sounds good when the team's good. So on behalf of the broadcast crew, thanks for winning in Gill Coliseum.
Gosh.
So here we go.
No question.
Here we go. You can turn it up, and you can see everything that's going on here.
Mad scramble. Brennan sticking around, sticking his toe in there. Look at Dante just battling, just getting a piece of it.
Fakes. 3 seconds to play into the middle of the lane. Pass it to Dante. He dunks and scores.
Yeah, we're all in shock at the sideline. Usually it's just straight mayhem. You know what I mean, on the basket like that.
Dunks. 60-58 Oregon. Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, that was
wins in Corvallis.
Man, I mean, obviously, wow. I mean, obviously, as a coach, you'd love it to be like a clean, screen, backdoor cut, lay it in, looks great. But there's the other part of you, too, when you start thinking about this time of year, scraps like that are the winning plays that get it done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there was a time about a month ago where, as a staff and as each other, we're looking each other in the eyes and, hey, how tough are we?
Right.
Can we pull stuff like this off? And right there, it just goes to show you the difference between winning, losing, or, good, great, good, mediocre. Comes down to plays like that, and you look at our season right now, I think we're 6-1 in games determined by 5 points or less.
That's right. And 3-0 in games decided by 3 points or less.
Amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you could see, obviously Coach Altman has historically always been great in late game situations, and but he'll probably attest to that if you watch the last 3 minutes of that. But you need plays like that. You need that grit. You need that time of year, and those are the things that fuel you as a team, and you could go back to as a coach. And be like, hey man, you got it in you. To get it done.
Well, and on that note, so I said this on Duck Insider yesterday, Coach. Jermaine Couisnard took the initial shot with 8 seconds left, and then offensive rebound, tip in, doesn't go. All that's going on. Couisnard doesn't just lay down on the floor.
He
right?
covered probably about 50 yards right there in that 8 seconds, bumping in the body, scrapping for the ball. I mean, you think about that, the sense of urgency, that it takes to pull something like that off. And I guess that's a great word that coaches love to hear this time of year is urgent. Play with some urgency.
Right.
And I guess that probably has been the theme for us coming into that game and going into this Bay trip.
Yeah.
We got to play with extreme urgency.
Yeah, when coaches talked to me a lot about, finishing games. And, again, not how you drew it up,
right.
a 5-minute scoring drought, but still found a way to win the game, had that urgency at the end. I mean, if I told you that you had a 5-minute scoring drought in the second half of a game on the road, you'd probably be like, I don't know, right?
That'd be tough. It'd be tough, especially when you look at it, a bit closer. There was good timing, too. It's a good learning lesson for us on the other side. They scored 4 points off our fouls.
That's right,
where we had the ball, too.
And one of them was 90 feet away from the basket.
90 feet away. A vet and Jermaine. Jermaine made up for it right there, but he was the one who made that. I think Dante's was close. You know what I mean? He went up with 2 hands, and I thought he got the ball. It could have been a play on, but hey, on the road, sometimes that whistle don't go your way, and you gotta figure it out from there.
That's right.
And the guys did. You know what I mean? And I know we were really ecstatic. Any road win at the Pac-12 or Power 5 level is so valuable and so important, and it just fuels your team. And it was good to see. Not only they had it out for us there with their fans, but man, we had a lot of green and yellow there too. Man, it was awesome to see our fans there get loud and have their presence be felt.
So I hope you'll appreciate this. I always give the attendance, on the post-game show, normal broadcast thing to do. But I said the most important attendance is that I counted 4 green shirts in the OSU student section.
They were there. I remember one had a big old chain on. He was representing. Then there was another one, another fan. God bless him, man. He was at the 50-yard line on the second tier. He was rocked out in Duck gear. And, man, he was just you could help but see him. You know what I mean? And looking across, there he is. And, it was just great to see the Duck fans come out and support even behind, enemy territory.
Yeah, that's right. That's honestly really valuable. I was talking with Coach Mennenga about that even a little bit further after we wrapped up. Talked with him a little bit earlier today here for the show, and I tell you, that traveling crowd matters. Think about the times at Matthew Knight Arena where it hadn't gone Oregon's way, and you hear that section behind the bench, and you're like, yeah, that. Duck fans do that on the road, too. Look, what goes around comes around. But, yeah, no, I was impressed with the amount of Duck fans out there. And did it go the way the Ducks wanted to? Did it go according to plan? No. but a chance to learn from those mistakes, like those late-game fouls. Coach Altman has talked so much this year about finishing games, as I alluded to with Coach Mennenga, and then the situational awareness. I thought that the Ducks had better situational awareness in that game in Corvallis, and now a chance, though, to build on some of that situational awareness moving forward. Can't have those fouls that lead to points, right? Especially 90 feet away from the basket, you know. Going to get a timeout when we come back. Part 2 of our conversation with the Oregon assistant, Mike Mennenga. Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Toyota, right here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you, because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Wherever you are in life, once a duck, always a duck. And that's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has helped the University of Oregon community take flight financially with great rates, lower fees, nationwide ATM access, and mobile banking. Earn more interest with remarkable checking, and show your duck devotion with a duck debit card. If you're a duck, you belong at OCCU. Go Ducks. Join OCCU. Learn more at myoccu.org/getduckdebit. Insured by NCUA.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you, because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
You're listening to Tip Off Tuesday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy, and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training, and the very next day, he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. My way of continuing my service is to help protect my community by being a responsible gun owner and by storing firearms safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
We're back on Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Toyota. I'm Joey Mack. Thanks for joining us. We've got Kelly Graves, Oregon women's basketball head coach, coming up. Kennedi Williams as well from the Oregon women's program. And you know, those of you that are live with us on Facebook, on YouTube in the afternoon, thanks for always joining us. I know that 2:30 to 3:30, it's an odd time for us to do the show. We've always done it this way because it aligns with basketball practice and when we can talk with the student athletes. But anyway, I want to say, David Gilbertson, thanks for your comment about Chris Clayton. He's done a heck of a job filling in for Terry Johns this year. After meeting Chris last week at a women's game, David says, I can assure you that he is as personal as he appears on his show. Down to earth and willing to take a minute to share our passion of Oregon sports. David, that means a lot. I know it means a lot to Chris. It means a lot to me. I appreciate you saying that. It's been great for us to have Chris filling in for Terry. When we come back, we'll talk with Coach Graves, but first, Mike Mennenga. Part 2 of our chat with the Oregon men's basketball assistant coach. Ducks getting ready for an 8 o'clock tip on Thursday at Stanford, 4 o'clock tip on Saturday against Cal. Part 2 of our chat with Mike Mennenga. I have a box score oddity for you, okay? So this is what my 7th game calling basketball, or 7th year calling basketball here at Oregon. And I, to be honest, have never seen this before. 0 bench points for both teams.
Wow.
So, like, have you seen that?
No.
I mean, you watch a lot of basketball, coached a lot of basketball.
Absolutely not. Usually you need some type of production. And, you know, when you look at the score sheet, you know, the first place you look at everybody is points. How many points did he score?
Right. Who won?
You know, who won and how many points did they score? But, you know, what's interesting about that, Joey, too, like Mo Diawara, you know, in his 10 minutes, he didn't score, but he graded out the best defensive efficiency. And on offensive side, with his screening, he created, like, 3 to 4 baskets just based off his screens alone, whether it's on the ball or off the ball. So, again, there's so many different ways to win a game, whether it's, you're screening, whether it's you're just not letting the guy Jordan Pope turn the corner on a ball screen, Mo, and you're keeping him in front of you, or you just get, the ball's loose on the floor, as you just saw in the clip.
Right.
Dante and Jermaine and Brennan were just not going to be denied. They were going to get the ball, and we're going to win the game. You know what I mean? So sometimes that type of stuff just doesn't pop up to just looking on a piece of paper.
Well, so about the rotation, Coach. I mean, certainly, fans have been hearing Coach Altman talk about this a lot. They've heard me mention it. Coach Altman said he wanted Mo Diawara to play 10 minutes, and he wanted N'Faly Dante to play right around 30. Well, you nailed that as a coaching staff. The rotation was right there.
Coach had it. Coach, obviously, Dante's. We'd love to keep him out there.
You'd love to play 40, right? Yeah,
you know what I mean. And he would if he had to. That's the way that kid's wired. But reality is, we got to keep him in that 28 to 30 range. I go back. I'm sure Coach has told you back before. Even go back to our Final Four run. We'd love to keep Dylan Brooks out there the whole game, but he was actually more efficient in that 25 to 28 range. You know what I mean? He was more efficient in that range. So, we need to have Mo stay out of foul trouble and keep giving us those little lifts, whether it's, that are kind of intangibles, things that are not seen by the fan, that they really, really fuel us and create space for guys to make plays, So that being said, we need Mo, we need our bench, we need Brennan and Cario to give us some production too, So the challenge is on them. And, like I said, man, it was just great to get that hard-fought road dub. And even we didn't win no style points there at the end of it. Man, it was just good to see the fight and urgency.
Talking about some of that fight urgency down the stretch, certainly a freshman at this point in the season, they can really make a name for themselves. We've seen it at Oregon. And Jackson Shellstad's our player guest here coming up on Tip-Off Tuesday.
Fantastic, yep.
What have you seen from the freshman from West Lynn?
He's been great to work with. He's, I do a lot of the pre-practice, post-practice, we're on the floor a lot. And like I said, our freshmen, Mookie has got his own diligency in the weight room and rehab coming back from his ankle. But Jackson and KJ in particular have been extremely diligent, as far as what they do pre-practice, what they do post-practice, when they get their shots up later. So they're bound for great things. And just like any freshman, it's a learning experience, In this time and era of college basketball, you're playing against guys who are a lot older and more physical than you. And I think both those guys are adjusting. Jackson had to adjust for coming out hotter than a firecracker.
Yeah.
What I mean? Then all of a sudden, who's this kid? We got to trap him more. We got to physically switch him more. We can't allow him to do these things. So now Jackson's going to have to, find ways to counteract that. And then on top of that, it was a great opportunity for him to find ways to make plays defensively. And that's probably, as a coach, I'm very proud of him over the last 4 weeks. His rebounding numbers has gone up, his deflection numbers have gone up. He's more aware off the ball of what we're trying to get done. So he's become more and more of a complete player, even though the baskets haven't been there consistently, and people are like, hey, what's up with Jackson? What's up with Jackson? Jackson's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. You know what I mean? And he just keeps getting better in other facets, too.
And Jermaine Couisnard and him are also playing 35 minutes a game.
And he's such a good player. That part is almost like an assumption, but now you're starting to get into the part there where we really miss Keyshawn.
Right.
Keyshawn as a vet, knockdown shooter, ball handler, like you saw, ball handling was such a big part of that Oregon State game. So now all of a sudden, Keyshawn's load, which was a fifth-year vet, 12-point-a-game scorer in the Pac-12, seasoned vet in the league, now all of a sudden that falls a little bit more on Jackson's shoulders and Jermaine's shoulders and trickles down into Brennan. So again, this is I counted this is the fourth time this year that we're kind of regenerating our team into a new identity. So nothing gets you identity more fortified than a road win and scrapping it out for one. You know what I mean?
And road trip coming up, but traditionally the Bay Area trip's been a tough one. Stanford, Cal, but we were saying in the break, Coach, you would like to play these teams maybe about a month ago. They've kind of gotten better, it seems like.
Cal, 100%. They're doing a great job. You know what I mean? And they got a guard, Jalen Tyson, who's crushing it right now. They got the big guy in the middle. So they got nice pieces put together, and they're playing well. And then Stanford, he's one of those mystery teams. You look at them and their size and their physicality, their rebounding. They're a top 10 in the country in three-point shooting. They're shooting 39% as a team, so you can't really make any mistakes defensively, and then you got to rebound the ball. Right. So they're going to pose a great challenge, but I feel like we got the urgency necessary, to take care of business, and as tough as it's been in some years, man, there's been other years too. It's been got Duck teams, the Joe Young teams. Yeah. We went in there with needing to win those games, got it done. We're in the same position now where we need to go in there and play with that urgency that illustrated that last play and take care of business.
Mike Mennenga, assistant coach for the Ducks. Hey, thanks for being here, Coach.
Oh, man, Joey, that's it.
Appreciate your time. Hey, that was 13 minutes, Coach. We hit the number. That was great.
Oh, my two-fair hanging out with Joey Scott in the studio and talking ball.
I love it. You're welcome anytime. The Ducks are on the road. Coming up, we're going to switch to the women's side. Also on the road, actually, this week. Talking with the head man, Kelly Graves, on the women's side next on Tip-Off Tuesday here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Let's go.
Pepsi Zero Sugar has taken its flavor to the next level. A Zero Sugar Cola has never tasted this good. But we don't expect you to take our word for it, so we're putting it to the test. Starting with me. Cue the fireworks. We have an official best Zero Sugar ever. It's delicious, it's refreshing, and it's so good you'll need to try it for yourself. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Zero never tasted so good. That's what I like.
Pepsi is proudly distributed by locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks, drink Pepsi.
Fubo is the official streaming platform of Oregon Athletics. With Fubo, you can watch every Pac-12 game, plus more college and pro sports, shows, movies, and news on over 350 live TV channels. Stream it live on your TV, phone, and other devices. No cable required. The best part? You can try Fubo free. There's no contract or commitment. To start watching, just go to FuboTV.com. That's FUBOTV.com.
This is Tip Off Tuesday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Toyota. We're in the Country Financial Studio. Heard from Mike Mennenga on the men's side as the Ducks head to the Bay Area. Now on the women's side, head coach Kelly Graves reviewing the weekend at Matthew Knight Arena. And then 7 o'clock on Friday, the Ducks taking on Washington in Seattle, and a noon tip-off in Pullman for Oregon women's basketball on Sunday. Chris Clayton sitting down with Kelly Graves, and our Tip-Off Tuesday, always brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
7th straight game against a ranked opponent coming off the game Sunday against UCLA, and a very competitive game at that. You cut it down to 13 in the second half. Yeah. What were your big takeaways from that against an elite Bruins team?
Well, that number one, I really think top to bottom they're probably the most talented team in the conference. Maybe not the best team right now, but the most talented. And I also came away knowing, we've got some work to do. We've our kids are working hard. They have great attitudes, all that kind of stuff. We've just got to get a little bit better because we weren't all that competitive pretty much in any of those games outside of maybe the Beaver game, for 40 minutes. We had stretches here and there, but, we've, just got to continue to get better and get a little bit deeper. And, that's kind of my takeaway after these 7 games.
Yeah, we talked to Jody Berry, associate head coach, after the game Sunday against UCLA. She said she wasn't necessarily too pleased about how the team responded against USC after getting down early, but she said she was very proud of the response Sunday against UCLA. The team, you could see the fight and scratching and clawing back into that game.
Yeah. Oh, no question. I agree with Jody 100%. Yeah, we just died on Friday night. But yesterday, yeah, we kept fighting, and that, shows that, our players have character. We just didn't have enough, to come back. And when you dig a hole early, like we've seemed to do a lot, it's just like you're running uphill against people who are running on a flat surface. It's just it makes it difficult. And but yeah, we did some good things. In the end, it was the area that has hurt us the whole this whole stretch, the whole Pac-12 season. Points off turnovers and second chance points. And I think UCLA combined in those two areas for 46 points. You just can't get that done. And it's really weird. Our assist to turnover ratio is the worst it's been since I've been here. It's always been one of the areas where we're either 1 or 2 in the conference and always top 10 or 15 in the country. And we just can't seem to take care of the ball well enough. And teams in this conference make you pay. So, it's just an area we just got to keep working on. There's not a lot of season left, but, I still believe that, something good is going to happen to this team down the stretch.
A chance, maybe, hopefully. I mean, there's no easy games in the Pac-12, but it gets easier. That's the reality. The next couple games, Washington and Washington State. And those are obviously two teams that are hungry to get back on track and get some wins. How do you find success in Washington?
Well, hopefully our kids aren't beat up enough to where we can't believe and don't believe that we can go in there and win. We kind of gave them an extra day off this week, so today and tomorrow, or today they're just coming in shooting, and then they're going to get a lift on their own to kind of just give a refresh, both physically and mentally. And I believe we can. It's not going to be easy. They just happen not to be ranked. They're kind of down in the standings with us, but they're still very good.
Yeah.
Washington lost 2 games this week down in the desert, one in triple overtime to Arizona yesterday, and then one in overtime to Arizona State.
That was double.
They went 5 overtimes, and one of their players I saw had played 55 minutes.
Yes.
So in one of the games, it's just not going to be easy, and it is on the road. But I feel that we've improved, and we continue to improve, and hopefully that will show up this week. But the last 2 weekends, I think we have some winnable games here, and if we can win a few and maybe get one in the tournament at least, that can get us to the 14 to 15 win range. And then with the new WBIT, it's an NCAA sponsored tournament. Mm-hmm. You don't have to have a 500 record to get in it like the NIT. Maybe a team like Oregon is attractive because I think our net rating is still high enough to where we're going to be, looked at for that tournament.
You got the WBIT and the WNIT, so you're talking about 80 postseason teams after the 68 that make the NCAA tournament. So that's still very much on the table. Yeah. How beneficial do you think that experience would be with a young team to get some extra games under their belt?
Well, we're like the youngest team in the conference, and so, yeah, anytime, you can get more games. I've always been of the belief, if somebody wants you to play. Mm-hmm. I mean, what else are they going to do? They're going to be going to school and working out anyway, so we might as well be preparing for a game. I remember in my second year here, we had faded down the stretch just the last weekend. Jillian Aileen tore ACL. Jordan Luetta tore ACL the week before the season ended. We were one and done in the conference tournament, but we had a pretty good record. The NIT wanted us to play, and that was just kind of a shell of the team we had. And doggone it, we won 4 games in that tournament, and some of those were the most memorable games I've ever had the opportunity to coach, and it was just an amazing experience. So I know my staff at the time said, no, we don't want to play. We don't want to play. We don't want to play because, everybody was hurt. Mm-hmm. We literally had just hodgepodge put together. And doggone it, we had a great run.
Yeah.
So I've always been of the belief, somebody wants you to play, we're going to play.
Mm-hmm. And you got to think that can build some momentum and confidence moving ahead to the next year if you can make a little postseason run. One of your older players that we're going to talk to on Tip-Off Tuesday is Kennedi Williams, transferring over from Liberty. What is she like? What's the experience been like coaching her, and what has she meant to the team?
Well, Kennedi has a great personality. I think she's very well liked among our teammates, and she sees to keep us loose. And, when we brought her in, she's shown flashes of what we really need from her. She's a true ball handler and facilitator and somebody who can create for others. It's been a big jump, I think, from Liberty to the Pac-12 for her, but she's really shown flashes here and there, and she's just steady. That's what I like about her. Her assist-to-turnover ratio is among the best on the team, and maybe the best, and it just seems to make the right plays. And I'm really grateful that she took a chance. It was late in the portal season, and we really felt that we needed some help at the point guard position, and she's certainly given us what we've asked for. So good on her. She's got a great future ahead of her. She's going to walk out of here with a master's degree. Mm-hmm. How neat is that?
Right.
I mean, so she's getting out of this experience, I think, what you're supposed to.
That's very cool. That's part of the well-rounded student athlete, a perfect example of that. Well, you've already talked about it a bit with the trip to Washington State, but what do you think are keys to success?
Well, the thing that, we've talked about it ad nauseum. I don't know if maybe some of our listeners know what that means, but it just points out, we've got to take care of the ball. And it's one thing to have turnovers that are dead balls, but we seem to kind of sometimes space out a little bit and throw it away when it's the least opportune time, and the other team oftentimes just more athletic than us, and we can't catch them in transition after they get the steal. So that's number one. And I know our kids are trying. They really are. I can't fault them for their effort and their togetherness and everything like that. But and then the rebounding. We've just got to continue to be people look at us and go, well, you're so tall, you should be getting rebound. That's not necessarily the case. You look at the people that lead the NBA or WNBA sometimes in rebounding. It's not the big centers. Mm-hmm. It's it's those other players in between the athletes that just go get the ball. So we just shore up those two areas and maybe knock down a three or two. Yeah. We had one yesterday. We just it's a struggle, no question, but we just got to keep grinding to the end and see what happens.
Well, best of luck in Washington Friday and then Washington State on Sunday. You can see the growth, the improvement, and development of this team, and hopefully comes out with some wins this weekend.
Yes, indeed.
Ducks head coach Kelly Graves.
Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Toyota. I'm Joey Mack. That was Chris Clayton talking with Kelly Graves. When we come back, Chris sat down with Kennedi Williams. That's next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Wherever you are in life, once a duck, always a duck. And that's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has helped the University of Oregon community take flight financially with great rates, lower fees, nationwide ATM access, and mobile banking. Earn more interest with remarkable checking, and show your duck devotion with a Duck debit card. If you're a duck, you belong at OCCU. Go Ducks. Join OCCU. Learn more at myoccU.org/getduckdebit. Insured by NCUA.
Fubo is the official streaming platform of Oregon Athletics. With Fubo, you can watch every Pac-12 game, plus more college and pro sports, shows, movies, and news on over 350 live TV channels. Stream it live on your TV, phone, and other devices. No cable required. The best part? You can try Fubo free. There's no contract or commitment. To start watching, just go to FuboTV.com. That's FUBOTV.com.
You're listening to Tip Off Tuesday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Into the building for the first time after the shooting. It was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Back on Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Toyota. We're in the Country Financial Studio. And actually, yesterday, Chris Clayton sat down with Kennedi Williams, who has kind of had an up-and-down injury season for the Ducks. But, man, as she's gotten healthy, what an impact she's made. And that team, I'm telling you, I think they're going to sort a few things out here moving forward against not ranked teams for the first time in a while. Conference is a juggernaut. But, as you heard Coach Graves say with Chris, they need to get better. One way I think they have gotten better is that Kennedi Williams has given the Ducks some meaningful minutes here of late. She talked with Chris Clayton here for Tip-Off Tuesday.
So K-Dub, that's what a lot of the team calls you, among maybe some other nicknames.
Yeah.
Have you always been called K-Dub, or is that kind of a new thing?
New thing. I've had like a friend or two along the way call me that, but not like on a regular basis.
Are there any other nicknames they call you?
Ken, Kennedy, K-Willie. K-Willie probably more than the other ones.
Yes. That's awesome. So your first year with the Ducks, you transferred over from Liberty. What has your experience been like playing in an Oregon uniform?
It's been a complete 180, but, I mean, I got everything I asked for, to be pushed out of my comfort zone into a growth aspect for whatever comes after this. And the scenery, like living in Oregon, has been very different as well. But like I said, I got what I asked for. Like, I wanted to do, like, a 180 on my life. Like, just change the scene, change the people, just change everything.
So you're from Georgia. You grew up in Georgia, and then you went to school at Liberty, which is over on the East Coast of North Carolina. So what's the adjustment been like? What's been the biggest differences living in Oregon? Where do you start?
Yeah, where do you start? It's so different from East Coast to West Coast. The people, the environment. It's pretty out here. It's way prettier out here. A lot more water, natural trees, grass, stuff like that. We have that, but it's like, it's not the same.
Right, it's not the same. And this is a young team that you're on. There's a lot of underclassmen, freshmen, and sophomores, and you're in your 5th year in college. So what have you been able to kind of bestow some of your wisdom and your leadership on the younger players?
Yeah, just more of a way to think about it is like, if you have time, there's possibility. And that's the most important thing. Like, if it's not okay right now, it will be eventually, or you'll figure it out. Because that's the best thing that I've gotten from my whole college experience, that the worst of it I've learned from, and I'm grateful for it. Like, I wouldn't take back anything that has ever happened, because I'm grateful for all of it, and it teaches you a lot. But at the same time, like, the chemistry aspect, that's the only difference between younger and older players. It's just chemistry. Like, how well do you know each other on the court and getting to know each other. That's why teams that have stayed together for a long time do better, or like teams that like come into a new system, it looks a little jumbled at first, but like the only difference is just spending that time together. And we spend a lot of time off the court, on the court, so.
And you're just a winner. I mean, that's how I would describe you. Going all the way back to high school, into Greater Atlanta Christian School, and then you were at Liberty. But going back to high school, you had 4 straight state Final Four appearances there. And I'm looking down at my notes to make sure I have this right. At Liberty, you went 91-33.
Yeah.
53-13 in conference play. But what is it about your game and your style that you're just on winning teams?
See, you call it a winner, but I feel like I haven't gotten a ring yet, so I'm still bitter hurt about that one. But like I would say the biggest thing over all the years, the most important thing was the culture, the culture of the girls I was around, the culture of the coaches. Like, it was just, we knew each other on and off the court, and I think that goes a long way. We knew, like, in my game, I don't know how to explain it, but like it's easy for me to know exactly how you move, because then I know exactly where to put the ball in your hands for you to be like your best self.
So you're pursuing your master's degree.
Yes.
And what will that be in?
Advertising and branding responsibility.
Oh, okay. Awesome. This is a great school for that, obviously, the University of Oregon. What do you hope to accomplish in that field?
More of the branding part of personal branding myself, because I have a lot of entrepreneurial goals, and my undergrad is in computer science and business. So I want to use that computer science, that money maker degree, to earn some coins there, and then ultimately go into my own personal entrepreneurial goals, branding, and then I'm working on a terminal project that helps athletes transition from sports to not sports. So hopefully that looks like some sort of app or whatever.
Right.
But
that's exciting. That is very cool. And obviously, I think for Oregon fans watching this, they've seen you on the court and they've seen you in interviews and stuff. But this is a great glimpse into your maturity. It just feels like you're very mature compared to, and I know you're in your fifth year senior, but you bring a kind of level of wisdom and maturity that not a lot of people your age have. How did you get to that point in your life, and where does that come from, do you think?
It definitely comes from being around older people. Like, you've been around me. I like to have fun. Like, I like to goof off and have fun. Like, that's the number one thing. Like, I want to enjoy the life that I'm living. That's the number one thing. But then, like, coming with that, you're going to make mistakes along the way. And, like, I've always been around older people. Like, even when I was younger, I was playing up. I have 3 older brothers. Like, I've, like, rarely been around people my age. So it's like, when you get knocked off that wagon, when you're around older people, like, you don't really have time to sit there and think about it. Like, you have to just adjust your life. Like, move on. So a lot of, like, just learning from life. And when you're goofy, you make a lot of mistakes. you make a lot of, a lot.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to call you boring saying you were mature. You're definitely a lot of fun, for the record. It's
just like when you talk to me, you get a different version from, like, you know, like how I'm just
right, compared to the team bus maybe around your teammates. No disrespect to the Atlantic Sun Conference, but the jump from there to the Pac-12 is a little bit different. I mean, in the Pac-12, you're playing top 20, top 10 teams every single game. What's that jump been like for you playing on these much bigger stages this year?
I'd say the number one thing was probably, like, the pace of the game, probably. Because, like, that was another reason that I left. Like, I wanted to be able to move the ball faster because we were at more of a traditional setting, which it worked for us. So, like, we won. But I wanted a faster pace setting. And I also wanted to see more competition. Like, the times that I thrived was mostly in our non-conference. And I was like, I want to taste this more. So then.
And speaking of that, I was going to mention your career high 9 assists when you were with Liberty was at Washington, Pac-12 school. So you think, oh, no problem. Step right in there. And you mentioned your family, too. How big of an influence did your older brothers and your family have on you in choosing to play basketball and falling in love with the game?
Huge. I mean, they were the ones I was outside playing with. So they were just like, for the longest, like, I know it sounds crazy, but for the longest, I didn't know that organized women's basketball was a thing. So I was playing, like, with the guys, with my brothers. I enjoyed being outside more than I enjoyed being, like, in the gym playing. So eventually, like, we started to see how things were working social media wise, AAU wise, and then my dad, and they were all just like, look, you gotta get on a team, turn this into something. Turn this into, like, a free degree or something. And then that was the goal from then. And then that's what made me switch schools to go far beyond where I was living.
Yeah, so Douglasville, Georgia is where you're from, and then you went to play for Greater Atlanta Christian School. We went to school there, but that was about an hour. I was looking, by the way, before this interview on Google Maps, Douglasville versus Greater Atlanta Christian School, and it's about an hour commute, and you did that every day. Good basketball opportunity for you, I understand, at Greater Atlanta Christian.
Yeah, I was playing at Chapel Hill with the teammate, and she heard about a coach who went to UGA, and she also played in the league, Coach Lady Grooms. And they were just like, look, if you really want to get developed, you really want to play in college, like, you should make this move. So then I made the move, and it was just, for the longest, it was just 5 a.m. wake-up times, going to school, and then, like I told you, staying after to, like, beat traffic. Because, like, 1 hour could turn into 2 hours very quickly in Atlanta traffic. So it was a commute, but ultimately it was all worth it.
Yeah, and it all worked out. I mean, I guess college was probably easy for you when you consider that schedule.
No, actually.
And looking forward, and coming down the stretch here, just a few games remaining. What do you hope to accomplish for the rest of the season, and how does the team finish strong here coming down the stretch?
I'd say having no regrets. I've lived a full, like, college experience. I've had a great college experience, honestly. So I just say, at the end of it, I want to get back to myself more because I feel like I haven't, like, played fully like myself and, like, how I know how to play or, like, comfortably. So in the end, like, I kind of just want to break the shackles, I guess, and just go out there and have fun. And then honestly, like, not just have fun, but like I know it seems very bad right now, but I just want to find a way to turn this whole thing around, like, in the best way possible to, like he says in the locker room, like, well, we feel good about ourselves in the end, and we have something to show for it. Like, yeah, we went on this losing streak. Yeah, this happened. Yeah, we lost all these teams. Yeah, they're 20. Yeah, they're ranked, but, like, honestly, I felt like we could have won every single one of those games just with the right, like, adjustments, I guess. But I feel like when it counts, I want to be able to have all of us show up. Like, since I guess all of this is counted, don't get me wrong, but, like, when we're in the tournament, like, as long as, like, we're in that tournament, I feel like we still have a chance.
Right.
So with that chance, I just want to make sure that, like, it's not wasted. Like, that opportunity's not wasted. And it could be an amazing story for all of us to look back on. Like, through all of this, like, we were able to make something of it and then do something that people won't even talk to us about anymore, like NCAA tournament. Like, people won't even mention that. Like, it's just, like, I want to change the narrative of what people are expecting from us. So.
You got 4 games left.
Yeah.
And the postseason as well, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
And so plenty of time. This is Kennedi Williams, 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio, Oregon Ducks point guard. Thanks for your time and telling your story.
Thank you.
So the entrepreneurial goals afterwards, already with the money-making, computer science, and business, I was just sitting here like, she's going to run the world, you know? Like, it's awesome, though, to have her, because I know the injuries up and down. Like, it's awesome to have someone with that veteran presence in the locker room. And I love what she said at the end. Like, we know that it's been a tough sled, the losing streak for Oregon women's basketball, but now chance to turn some things around. Who knows? You go on a run, things feel a lot better down the stretch. That was Kennedi Williams talking with Chris Clayton. Thanks again to Kelly Graves. Also thanks to Mike Mennenga for joining us. The schedule ahead as Oregon men's basketball is squarely on the bubble. All right, they're right on the outside of the bubble. Maybe that was 2 green and yellow lenses, but depending on which bracketologist, since that's a word, Scott's nodding his head like, yeah, that's a word. Depending on where you're looking, the Ducks are probably right on the outside looking in for the most part of the NCAA tournament on the men's side. Now, on the women's side of the NCAA tournament, they'd have to win the Pac-12 tournament right now. But because there's now further postseason opportunities for women's basketball across the NCAA with the new Women's Basketball Invitational Tournament and the Women's National Invitational Tournament, the WBIT and the WNIT. Are you following our acronyms? That means that there are other postseason opportunities potentially for the Ducks moving forward. But if you get a little momentum here, feel a lot better going into some of that postseason, wouldn't you? I feel like Coach Graves is going to be, look, he'll play anybody anywhere. I really feel that way with Coach Graves. So for Oregon women's basketball on the road, Seattle, a 6:30 pregame show with Chris Clayton on Friday, televised on Pac-12 Washington, Oregon women's basketball on the road. And then on Sunday in Pullman, the Ducks and, let's see, the Cougs on Pac-12 Oregon. I stutter because I'm trying to make sure I get the right Pac-12 channel for you. On Pac-12 Oregon, 11:30 pregame across the Oregon Sports Network and a noon tip-off for Oregon women's basketball on Sunday in Pullman. Meanwhile, for men's basketball, hitting the road tomorrow, Ducks will travel down to the Bay Area. Stanford is the first opponent for the Ducks, and it's an opportunity game against a team that has beaten some good teams at home, like Arizona. Just saying. Stanford has been a little bit of a Jekyll and Hyde at times. They're very athletic, can really shoot the 3, and it's televised on ESPN too. 8 o'clock tip-off on Thursday, Oregon men's basketball against Stanford. 7:30 pregame, I'll have it for you across the Oregon Sports Network. But look, ESPN 2, another opportunity on national television for the Ducks to maybe get something done. And then 4 o'clock on Saturday, Oregon men's basketball on Pac-12 Network in Berkeley against a surging Cal team. Mark Madsen's got them playing well. 2 road trips for Oregon basketball this weekend. My thanks to Chris Clayton, Scott Phillips, Ashley Gentry in the OSN studios. I'm Joey Mack. See you over the weekend.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join